I can't have an assistant who serves tables. My boss yelled in front of everyone. You're fired. But when she arrived at the restaurant that night with her VIP customers, her face was priceless. Years, and until recently, I was the assistant executive of Miranda Torres, the ruthless marketing director of Torres y Asociados. But that was just one part of my life. What no one in the world office knew was that I was also the owner of the Golden Rose, one of the most exclusive restaurants in the city, a legacy that I inherited from my father, who passed away 5 years ago. Promise me that you will keep this place alive, he told me on his deathbed. But do it your way. My father understood why I wanted to keep my property a secret. In the corporate world, being the owner of a restaurant was not considered professional, regardless of how successful the business was. As an executive assistant during the day, I wanted to learn the corporate world from inside. At night, and on weekends, I supervised the restaurant, occasionally serving tables, to keep me connected with the staff and clients. Everything was going well, until Miranda started to suspect my extra activities. Why are you always busy after work? She was constantly wondering. An executive assistant must be available 24/7. I have family commitments, I responded, technically without lying. The restaurant was my family. One Thursday afternoon, Miranda called me to her office. Diana, I need you to organize a business dinner for tonight. We have important clients from Europe. Sorry, Miranda, but I have an inescapable commitment tonight. Her face turned red. What can be more important than your work? It's a family affair. It's always a family matter. This is unacceptable. What Miranda didn't know was that we had a private event that night at the Golden Rose. A Michelin chef was preparing a special menu, and I needed to be present. Miranda, I can help you make the reservation. I know a place. I don't need your recommendations. I need an assistant who understands priorities. At that moment, her phone rang. While she answered, I quickly checked the reservation system from my tablet. Like Carlos suspected, her previous assistant had made a reservation for her and her clients, in the Golden Rose. I heard her say on the phone. Reservation for 6 people, at the Golden Rose. 8 o'clock. When she hung up and looked at me with contempt. Since you're so good with restaurants, maybe you should work as a waitress. Miranda, I really can't stay tonight. Enough, she shouted, getting up from her desk. Follow me. She led me to the common area of the office, where everyone was working. Attention, everyone, she announced in a loud voice. I want you to witness this. I can't have an assistant who prioritizes another job over her responsibilities here. I froze. How did she know? Oh yeah, she continued with a malicious smile. I had my executive assistant followed. She works as a waitress in a restaurant. Can you believe that? The laughter and murmurs began to fill the office. Imagine the example she gives to our clients. What would they think if they knew that the assistant to the marketing director waits tables? I tried to intervene, but she cut me off. You're fired. Pick up your things and go. Go back to your tables and your tips. While picking up my belongings, I heard Miranda talking to her team. Tonight, we have an important dinner at the Golden Rose. It's the best restaurant in the city, where important people do business. Not like other places where a certain person works. I left the office with my head held high, ignoring the looks of pity and the giggles. I had work to do. I drove straight to the restaurant and gathered with my team. Everything ready for tonight? I asked Miguel, my executive chef. Yes, boss. The star Michelin chef is installed, and the menu looks spectacular. Perfect. By the way, the table at 8, the Torres reservation, it's special. I want it to be Mrs. Torres perfect. Again, Maria asked, my maitre d'. She's always so arrogant with the staff. Yes, I know. I smiled, remembering all the times Miranda had dined at my restaurant, treating staff like servants. But tonight would be different. Why do you smile like that? Michelle asked. You'll see, I responded, putting on the waitress apron. I'm going to serve that table personally. At 7:45 p.m., I made sure everything was perfect. The best table in the restaurant was prepared. The Michelin star chef had created a special tasting menu. The most exclusive wine was decanting. Are you sure about this? Maria asked, as she watched me dress in the waitress uniform. Completely, I responded, adjusting my nameplate, which simply said Diana. It's time to teach a lesson about respect. At 8:05 p.m., Miranda and two executives arrived with their European clients and their wives, just as they always did, with a dramatic entry. Reservation for Torres, she announced loudly. Table for 6, the best clients. Maria welcomed them with her usual professionalism. Of course, Mrs. Torres. Your table is ready. Diana will be your waitress tonight. Miranda was too busy showing off the restaurant to her customers to notice who was leading them to the table. The Golden Rose is the best restaurant in the city, she boasted. You have to make reservations months in advance. But of course, I have a table standing here. Lie. Every reservation of hers had gone through the normal system. I waited for the perfect moment to approach. Miranda was in the middle of another exaggerated story when I came to present the menu. Good evening. I'm Diana, and I'll be your waitress tonight. Miranda froze mid-sentence. Her face went from red to white in seconds when she recognized me. You, she whispered, horrified. Yes, I smiled professionally. Let me introduce you to our special tasting menu, created exclusively for tonight by the Michelin star chef, Antoine Dubois. The European clients immediately showed interest, but Miranda looked like she had seen a ghost. How did you get a job here so fast? She murmured. Oh, I've been here for several years, I replied casually, as I poured water into crystal glasses. For the wine to start, we have a Chateau Margaux 1996, specially decanted for the occasion. Excellent, exclaimed one of the executives. Miranda, you didn't tell us you had such good contacts here, to get Antoine Dubois and a Chateau Margaux 1996. Miranda stammered something incoherent while I continued with my presentation. Throughout dinner, I could see her suffering a nervous breakdown. She tried talking to several waiters, probably to complain about me, but everyone politely referred her to management. Finally, after dessert, she exploded. I demand to speak to the owner, she shouted, standing up. They can't have this person working here. The European clients looked at her, surprised. Miranda, what's the problem? The service has been exceptional. The problem, I answered calmly, is that Mrs. Torres fired me today, for working here. What? One of the wives asked. You fired her for working in one of the best restaurants in the city? You don't understand. Miranda protested. An executive assistant cannot be a waitress. And why not? I asked, taking a card from my pocket. It was my official restaurant business card. Miranda took it with trembling hands, and Diana Martinez read aloud. Owner. The Golden Rose. The silence that followed was deafening. Owner, whispered Miranda, confused. I confirmed. I inherited the restaurant 5 years ago. My father brought me in as a nod executive to learn about marketing, corporate, something that evidently we needed. Since you think that you have a permanent table here. European customers started laughing. Brilliant, exclaimed one of them. Learn the business from both sides, Miranda. You should be proud to have one so dedicated assistant. Former assistant, I corrected gently. As the lady said, Torres, I was fired today, publicly, for being a waitress in my own restaurant. Miranda collapsed in her chair, her face a mask of horror and shame. By the way, I added, about your comment that you are one of our best clients, let me show you something. I made a sign to Maria, who brought a tablet with our system. Reservations for real customers. Golden Rose VIPs are people who treat our staff with respect, regardless of your position. We have a blacklist of clients who mistreat our employees. In it, for months, the executives, Europeans, leaned forward to look at the screen, where each incident of Miranda's behavior, disrespectful, had been documented meticulously. This is unacceptable, said one of them, looking at Miranda with disapproval. We value humility and respect in our commercial partners. Miranda tried to speak, but she only managed to make incoherent sounds. The dinner, I announced, is on the house. But I'm afraid, Mrs. Torres, that this will be your last visit to the Golden Rose. Like I said, we have standards on the treatment of our staff. The news spread like fire through the corporate world. Marketing director humiliates publicly the owner of the Golden Rose. Read the headlines on LinkedIn and other professional media. The morning next, I received a call from the CEO of Torres y Asociados, Miranda's uncle. Miss Martinez, his voice sounded tired. Could we meet to have breakfast? Of course, I answered. The Golden Rose opens for breakfast at 7 a.m. I would prefer a more neutral place. Mr. Torres, with all due respect, if we are going to talk about business, I prefer my territory. There was a pause. You are right. I will see her at 7. When he arrived, I received him in my private office overlooking the restaurant. He was surprised to see the walls covered in employee photos and framed food reviews. Impressive operation, he commented, observing staff preparing to open. Thank you. Coffee? Please. He sat down, clearly uncomfortable. Miss Martinez, about what happened yesterday. If you've come to defend Miranda, I interrupted him, save yourself the effort. He sighed. I come to apologize and to make a business proposal. That surprised me. Apologize? Miranda is my niece. I have spoiled her, I admit it. But what she did yesterday, well, let's say I had a long conversation with our European clients last night, and they are impressed with you, not only for the restaurant but for your approach to the business. Working as an assistant to learn, to maintain direct contact with clients, is the type of leadership they respect. And Miranda has been relieved of her position as marketing director. He leaned forward. That's the reason I'm here. We want to hire you. I almost choked on my coffee. Excuse me? Marketing director. And complete business development autonomy. Better salary than Miranda had. He smiled. Freedom to continue driving your restaurant. Why? Because we need someone who really understands customer service. Someone who doesn't fear getting their hands dirty. And frankly, after seeing how you handle the Golden Rose, it would be stupid not to try hiring you. I leaned back in my chair, thinking. I have some conditions. Of course. First, I want to implement a training program where all executives work 1 week in customer service. If I could be a waitress being the owner, they can do it being managers. He smiled. Interesting. Second, the Golden Rose will handle all corporate events of Torres y Asociados, but under my terms, no last-minute demands, no special treatment unjustified. Done. Something else? Yes. Miranda needs to apologize, not to me, but to every employee who has been mistreated here. He got serious. Humility is absolutely necessary. You learn at the top, Mr. Torres, you learn by serving others. 2 weeks later, Miranda appeared in the Golden Rose during our staff lunch. She wore a waitress uniform. As part of my rehabilitation, she announced with a trembling voice, I will work here for a month to learn from the staff. She looked at me. Welcome to the team, I said, handing her an apron. First lesson, dirty dishes are not cleaned alone. To everyone's surprise, especially mine, Miranda turned out to be a good student. Once she set aside her arrogance, during her month of service, she learned more about management, teamwork, and leadership crisis than in all her years as director. I never thought I'd say this, she confessed to me on her last day, but thanks, not only for the lesson, but for showing me a better way of doing things. Today, 6 months later, the Golden Rose is more successful than ever. The executives of Torres y Asociados joke that they have the most practical marketing director in the world, one who is not afraid to wait tables when necessary. Miranda now drives company public relations, a role that she does much better since she learned the importance of respect and service. As for me, I still use my waitress uniform at least once a week. Not because I have to, but because, as my father said, the best leader is one who never forgets how to serve. Last week, during an important corporate dinner, one of the new executives complained when they saw me serving tables. Why is the marketing director, Miranda, working as a waitress? She smiled. Because she is not just the director of marketing, she is the owner of the restaurant. And believe me, you don't want to question her about that. Sometimes, the best lessons in leadership are learned with an apron, a stand, and a tray in hand. To all those who think that some work is unworthy, remember, it is not the work that gives dignity to the person, but the person who gives dignity to the work. Thanks for watching my story. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video.